Hello and welcome to episode 6 of BassPush Interviews in conjunction with the Wub Mag, an online magazine based in Bristol covering everything underground. And today we have a special guest. We have the CEO of Juicy Fruit Recordings. He has recently been signed to Natty Dubs, has got releases on Dance Concept, Audio Addict, Deep in the Jungle, Roughneck Ting, Subwoofer, Clawhammer. His label Juicy Fruit has had releases from Erbman, Conrad Subs, Vortex, and a whole array of some very talented artists. So today we have Erbman. How are we doing, my G?
I'm all right, mate. Nice to meet you.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So
shout out to the Wub magazine as well.
Thanks very much, man. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking some time out of your day to do this one. So let's just jump straight in. What is Erbman? Do you want to talk a little bit about how you started and your inspirations and little things like that?
Yeah, well, I started DJing. I think it was like 2004 when it was still all like vinyl, really, and vinyl days, and there wasn't actually much drum and bass going on around like Liverpool as well at the time, and not a little bit in Manchester at the time, but over time now it's grown to where it's like quite a popular genre.
Yeah.
So, which is really cool.
Yeah, man.
So, main influences. Oh, yeah. Sorry, go on, mate.
No, I was just going to say, yeah. Have you got any main influences that really stick out that obviously made you want to start DJing?
Yeah, well, it was all like the jungle tape and stuff you used to be able to get. You get tape back, from Innovation and things like that. And so it'd be like all DJ Hype, Rocky, Skipper, and all like the classic. What's considered classic nowadays.
Yeah, I mean? Nicky Black Market, people
Nicky
like
Black
that.
Market, yeah, Mickey Finn,
yeah,
DJ Zinc as well.
Nice.
Guy, Full Cycle, Ronnie Size, all them. Really, they're the biggest influence on me because that's what I grew up on. Really.
Yeah, and so
anyway.
And so, have you had the chance to like support any of them, book any of them, or anything like that?
Yeah, I used to run an event actually, like 2012, 2011, 2010 maybe. So I booked Nicky Black Market back then, Brian G, Serum when he was on the come up, Heist. So a few of the people who were,
killing it nowadays, yeah.
That time as well, you know what I mean? And,
yeah.
I've supported so many artists over the years, just doing support slots, mostly around Liverpool and Manchester and Preston, places like that, Blackpool, and places like that. Really, just the northwest, really. And then over time, I've played, Birmingham, Bristol, or all the way up in Scotland and stuff as well. So. I've got around, but I'm not exactly the person who's constantly chasing the gigs. You know what I mean? So I'll just play whenever.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Good. There's some good news on the horizon. Hopefully.
Yeah. I've seen.
We obviously don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket, but I take it you're excited for June 21st. Is there anything in the pipeline that you are able to talk about?
No idea yet. I don't mind if I'm just out raving, to be honest, mate. I just need to get out.
Yeah.
get out and party and see, because the thing is, where I am in Southport is I'm close enough to places to go and play, but whilst it's been on the lockdown, you know what I mean, I haven't seen nobody from say the Liverpool scene, the Manchester scene, Blackpool scene, or anyone. I haven't seen any of the pals from there, so I'm just looking forward to that, to be honest.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah, I put up a status yesterday saying, if anyone wants to book me for the first rave back, tough, because I'm not leaving front left.
That's it.
Yeah, so let's just talk a little bit about how you got into production and stuff like that. Did you DJ first and then get into production?
Yeah. Well, I never got any. I got my decks first before I got into producing, but that was only probably 6 months. 6 months, and then I wanted to write music because I was more interested in writing the tunes.
Yeah, of course, man.
DJing. but obviously the two go hand in hand, really, especially if you want to play out and stuff like that, and play your own music and things like that.
Yeah, of course, man.
But I first started, this was around the same time, so I'd say 2003, 2004. There was nothing on the internet about producing. There was nothing like that or anything like that. So I literally had to just get magazines, like a computer music magazine, and then some other stuff, because they'd always have there'd be like one drum and bass artist putting in their tips for that week or that month's issue, and you could read that and learn how to produce that way. And then obviously took some time in college, but that was more to do with recording live music as well. But and basic music theory and stuff, things like that. I did that basically in the college route, and then over time, obviously, with technology getting better and things getting more compact and easier to use and things like that, just it's been a big, massive, long learning curve to where I'm at production wise today.
And I think and I think shortly after that was like the birth of YouTube, and I think that was a real like breaking point, if you know what I mean. There was everything became a lot more accessible. You started getting tutorials and bits like that. Is that something that you kind of fed off?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Still to this day, I'm still looking up things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, man.
Big up Stranger on that one actually, because he's one of the few people who just do drum and bass as opposed to all different styles. You know what I mean? He's a good, decent YouTuber. So anybody wanting to learn how to just learn a few to sharpen your tools, check out Stranger, because he does a decent little page that's growing. So
awesome. And well, we can include any links that you feel are relevant in and around this video. That's not a problem. So you touched briefly on there about when you were at college and you were doing like live recording. Can you go a little bit into that, like the kind of things that you learned there, and is it something that you have kind of used throughout your career?
Well, yeah. They also did electronic music at the time as well. But as I said at the time, it's not like it is today. You know what I mean? It's still the same principles. But you know, that was on like, say, early versions of Cubase, as opposed to now where it's like, you know, Ableton 11's coming out soon, and that looks like it's going to be a banger. You know what I mean? So it just workflow is a lot better nowadays as well.
Yeah.
It was on about recording live music and stuff. Well, it's I also play in a band, you see.
Okay.
So it's been in. So I've because I listen to other, you know, I listen to rock music as well and things like that, you know, on the side, and you know, I play in a band, and we're, well, up until recently, obviously, we were rehearsing and recording demos to you know, for our own release there, and so that's helped with that really. But you know, when it's come to doing drum and bass and stuff, it's always good to say to have mates, like a mate who plays the bass guitar. They can get him in, and maybe if you're doing a liquid track and you want something a bit more natural sounding, I know what I'm doing straight away to record it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
So,
and it's also good for when you're playing live yourself. You can kind of almost like help because obviously sound engineers don't need help, but it's also really helpful for the sound engineer when the DJ knows what he's doing, and he can kind of like help him like work it a little bit better.
I know what you mean.
That's awesome.
It's always good. You know, you put it up to the sound engineer, you can always get your set recorded.
Yeah, exactly. That's it, isn't it? So you said there that you're looking forward to the release of Ableton 11. Is Ableton what you predominantly use? Is that what you've always used, or?
No, I was on Cubase for about 15 years or something, like like Cubase 5 or something. And compared to like, it's good, and I've tried out the recent Cubase as well, with Erbman. He showed me a few bits about it, and it's definitely come along there. But I just switched to Ableton just out of necessity at the time, because I could get Ableton, I couldn't get Cubase. So
fair enough.
And I had to update because of other things, because that was don't want to go too into it, but that was like a 32-bit DAW, and most things run 64-bit nowadays. So
yeah, of course.
loads of things wouldn't run on it, so I just had to update.
So when did you make the switch over?
What, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
I guess you found that that's like helped your work process. Do you think it's helped your workload as well in terms of like the amount that you're able to put out?
Definitely help work flow. Now, I'll only put out when I make tracks, I won't put everything out. Every tune, I'll wait till I've got a few, and then I'll pick the best ones to put out. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, man.
Try and give it a bit of quality control. So it's helped me do that. As in, I can pump out like 4 or 5 ideas, see which ones I want to actually finish. And then when I finish them, if I actually want to put them out, and it's helped me with quality control, really.
Yeah,
so that's a good thing.
That's really cool. So let's just touch a little bit. Let's just move on to like your involvement with labels and things like that. So when did Juicy Fruit start?
2017. Our first release was, I think it was late July 2017. So,
and am I right in thinking that was Conrad?
no, it was the first one was actually a guy called Verdict, who's from near Bristol. I think it's Bath.
Okay.
He's released on a few decent labels now. I've backed him for a long time. I've been there. Obviously, I discovered him from his music a while back, and he was one of the reasons why I wanted to start the label.
Okay.
Because I'd get music off people that isn't signed, that is the kind of stuff I like to play, and then
it makes sense to it makes sense to then like release it yourself then.
Yeah, just start putting out my friends' music who are making the sound that I enjoy, because I like to Juicy Fruit to have its own sound.
Yeah, of course, man.
Not too heavy, not too light. Just straight down the middle with energy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's what I've tried to do, and so now I've got people messaging me going, "Oh, I've made this for Juicy Fruit." You know what I mean? So
I bet that feels really cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty
good. And so you've obviously got involvement with some other labels in terms of like releases that you've done. Are there any releases that you're like particularly proud of that you like? I don't know if you worked really hard on them, or if they just kind of like popped off when they got released.
Yeah, we did. Well, I did a release with Roughneck Ting. Last year, it might have been the year before. I'll get muddled up a bit. And it was a split LP with Flat T, if you know who that is.
Yeah, I've heard of Flat T.
That did really well, and it was a project I was really proud of. And there's a track on there I did a collab with Spherics as well. Big up Spherics, Wigan crew. Yeah, so that's one I've been particularly proud of.
Awesome, man.
And in with releases, because it did pretty well, and the artwork was amazing as well. So obviously Roughneck Ting do it proper, you know what I mean? So
yeah, of course, man.
As well.
So
and the work with I've done with Dance Concept as well. Big up Benny V.
Every time.
He's got my music in people's hands that it wouldn't have got in if it was just me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, man.
He's got music up on the Drum and Bass Arena YouTube for me, the Skank and Bass YouTube for me, and things like that, and different high profile like places where music can get. So he's done that for me. So I'm very, very, very happy to work with Benny as well.
Yeah, of course, man.
He's been a good to me.
So back to Juicy Fruit quickly. Are there any artists coming through now that maybe don't have any releases or anything like that you've got your eye on, that you're thinking they could be ready?
We got one coming out from Hannibal Selector.
Okay.
End of the month. He's not really had many releases. He does other styles. I think he does house and stuff as well. So
I got to say, that's a wicked name, isn't it? Hannibal Selector.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? He's a funny guy as well.
That's so clever.
He loves a bit of online banter, like, so he's a cool guy. Dan, aka Hannibal.
So when you're like selecting artists to work with and to release, do you like kind of look at their whole online personality, or is it just the music that you care about at this point?
Just the music. That's what I've always cared about. I don't really care about social media presence and
of course,
all
man.
that kind of thing. Like, it's a lot to take on, so I'm just not that fussed over it.
Yeah, of
I
course.
Just rather put my music out on, and if you come across it and enjoy it, well, that's good.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Yeah. So, future plans. What kind of? Obviously, you say that you've got Hannibal Selector coming up. Are there any other artists that you're allowed to talk about that are coming up soon?
The Erbman one just came out recently. That did all right. I've got a solo release, my first actual release on Juicy Fruit.
Okay.
That's the Rude Word and Fake Vomit. Is doing a series called the Juicy Gang series, because we did the album in January, and it's just got a nice ring to it. It's a nice hashtag.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course.
Talk about social media presence.
but it is really important, I think, for labels to have a social media presence.
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age. But for yourself, who kind of came up before social media really blew up, what kind of techniques did people use? Like, did you use to get your music out back in the day?
Footwork. Just turn up at a rave, give every DJ a CD with all your tunes on it.
Yeah.
That was it. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, man, that's really cool.
And then, like, you write your number on it, and occasionally somebody call you.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, I like your music, blah blah blah, and like things like that. And same with promoting, it was all footwork. You had to go out there and meet people. And but that was I'm 36 now, you know what I mean? That was when I was young, you know what I mean? And could do that. Could stay out all night till 6 in the morning giving out CDs. You know what I mean?
So have you found it, like, the transition over into social media? Have you found that helpful? Have you found it a hindrance at times?
Really, it's good to have a platform, but as I'm not too professional enough, you know what I mean? If sometimes I've got online, and you just you can just I can vent a little bit or something like that, which is never good. But it's usually something the government's done that's annoyed me. So
yeah, of course, man.
To work, things like that, and maybe so. I'm not the most professional person on social media, but it's there, and that's me. So I'm not going to.
I feel like if nothing else, it makes it kind of adds a relatableness to you, because obviously everyone's got their grumbles with the government and all sorts and all sorts of stuff. So I think, to be honest with you, it makes you a bit more relatable, that you're willing to put yourself out there and say these.
I've learned not to comment on the scene anymore. Like I used to always have something to say, but I've learned that I just can't be bothered now. I'd rather just share a stupid meme.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not worth it. So.
Yeah. So, talking about the government, what and obviously the restrictions that have been put in place over the last year or so, how has that affected your work process, if at all?
It's not really affected it, to be honest, because you write music at home anyway. It forced me to stay home a lot more.
Yeah.
There have been days where I'm lucky to still be working. I'm still in work, so that's and I still got a day job, so that's kept me sane. You know what I mean? Or drove me more insane, depending if I've had a bad day or not.
Yeah.
And I've even though music world, I'm isolated. I've still got friends around me, you know what I mean? I've got, you know what I mean? And with technology these days, you know, look at what we're doing right now.
That's
You know
it,
what I mean?
isn't
We're
it?
having a conversation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could have my pants on at all and you wouldn't know. It's mad, isn't it?
That's brilliant, man. So obviously with an end in sight, obviously you're looking forward to getting out raving again. Are there any club nights in particular that you're really hoping to get to, either as a fan or as an artist?
Anything
Yeah.
that's on. There was actually, now Southport, it's a very small town, and a friend of mine, Cookie is called, was actually it was the end of March. He was putting a drum and bass night on. And it's only around the corner from me, so I said, "Yeah, I'll come and play for an hour for you. That's no problem." You know what I mean? You know, he's just one of my good, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, man.
Personal friend. So, and then the lockdown went on, and he bought so many bits and bobs, like, you know, loads of like lights and smoke machines and stuff.
I mean, I guess it's
so,
useful for future use, but at the time, I bet he was just like, oh.
Yeah, I messaged him yesterday. I messaged him because I was speaking to him about it. He said saying about how we were laughing and joking about it the other day, and now this is you know, the end of July or end of June. I can't remember what day was. 21st of July was it?
June, I think it is.
June, was it? All right, 21st
Yeah.
of June. It'll probably be pushed back, but this the hopeful thing, isn't it?
I will say quickly that I found out some information earlier that Boris's birthday is actually the 19th of June. So if anything, that kind of gives me a bit of hope that it might happen, because, you know, there's always an ulterior
even if it's just for a few days.
Yeah, there's always an ulterior motive with this government, is something that I've noticed. So the fact that his birthday is a couple of days before it kind of does fill me with a little bit more hope, to be honest with you.
Yeah, if he's got a selfish reason to do it, he's going to do it.
That's it.
But anyway,
yeah.
So hopefully the night would be I'd want to go to is my friend Cookie's night, because I reckon if it's the first night open in Southport, it'll be a good one.
Yeah, of course, man. So
if not, it'll just be me and him. And that's fine as well.
So you said that you've obviously gigged pretty much all over the UK. Have you gone abroad or anything like that?
Don't know if Wales counts. Played Wales. I've not actually DJ'd in another country. No, it's just the UK. Really.
Is that something that you'd be very keen? Is that something that you'd be keen to do?
Yeah, because I like traveling. You know what I mean?
Nice,
if the time is right and somebody wants me there, then you know what I mean? I'll go and do it.
Yeah, of course. So in terms of sets that you've done in the past, whether they be anywhere in the UK, have you got any that particularly stand out as either ones that popped off or ones that you just generally really enjoyed? Let's say as an artist, first of all.
Every time I play in Bristol, absolutely love it in Bristol.
It is a vibe down there, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Liverpool, when I was playing a lot, and you know, sitting on couches and this and that, you know, to get and play. When I was playing a lot, some of the weird little student basement parties and things like that and stuff like that. The smaller the venue, you know, like just like 100 people or something, they're always the best ones.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. Totally agree. I mean, there is something to be said about playing in front of a lot of people, but then when it's a smaller amount of people and they're all feeling it, there is something really special about
the
that.
intimacy of it. That's what I like the best. Like, yeah,
absolutely. So, as a fan, are there any that really stand out as ones that you've like absolutely like really enjoyed?
I used to love there was venues in Liverpool. There was the Magnet, Zanzibar, and it was called the Mask. I think it's called the East Village Arts Club now, but it was called the Mask back in the day. And some of the nights they used to have like, you know, like I seen Goldie in like a 300 venue, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, man.
Venue, you know what I mean? And things like DJ Hype and stuff, and these tiny little venues, they just went off every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you got any funny stories that you can divulge into?
None that I can remember. It's all a bit blurry, to be honest. I'll tell you
No.
one I found quite amusing. I went to go and play in the Magnet one time. I think it was supporting Marcus Intellect's, rest in peace. And I was walking up to the booth, coming through. He used to come down the stage and go. The club looked like it was out of the 70s or something. It had all like dipped in floors and that.
Right.
And anyway, and there was this dude stood by the booth, shirt up like that, kicks down, just jumping up and down with his wang doing that, like no reason. I was just like, just as I go in, so I just opened the door, so it just covered him up and went up like that. There you go. There's one that was just stuck in my brain.
That's brilliant. That. So obviously the Duty Fruit has grown exponentially over the last couple of years. Where do you see the label in, like, say 2, 3, 5 years time?
Just still releasing music. That's all I want to do. I just want to release good music, man. That's all I want to do with it. So S-Man has actually talked about he wants to put out an album on it, which is good.
Nice.
I've got releases from Bill and Ed coming. I've got releases from a guy called Fascia, who's been doing a few bits, like collab with him on that as well. I've got like a big list of things, but I didn't write them down. I wrote down a few things, but
no, that's all right.
But yeah, I've got plenty of eyes coming. Just keep your eye on the Facebook page and the Instagram and that, and then I'll update periodically when every time there's a release coming, there'll be an update there. So
awesome, man. So obviously in the last year, live streams have kind of become almost bread and butter for a lot of artists. Is this something that you've been involved with a lot? Is it something that you're keen to get involved with, or is that time kind of passed for you, do you think?
I'm not too fussed on the doing live streams. I watch live streams, I listen to live streams when I'm listening to music, but there's so many talented DJs and so many of them that are really busting it that I don't feel the need to, you know what I mean? I did a few charity ones. I'm not really set up here for it'd be me in my back room using my phone, you know what I mean, with plugging it in, like, and there's so many people doing it so professionally and looking so great that it's just I'm not that fussed over doing it really.
Yeah,
live stream. I'd rather play a live show than a live stream.
Yeah, of course, man.
So I'd rather produce if I was at home. Maybe I'll do a really boring one of just me producing, the camera behind me. Maybe I'll do that.
I mean, to be fair, those kind of things have popped off as well. So I mean, it doesn't sound like the worst idea in the world.
Yeah. People are on Discord now, aren't they? This is the new thing.
Yeah, of course.
So I might have a look into that. See what happens.
It sounds like a good shout, to be honest with you. But in terms of obviously your inspirations, you mentioned some DJs earlier, but obviously you said that you listen to like other styles of music. Are there any artists that, like, over time that you have used as inspiration within your dance music that aren't specifically like drum and bass artists themselves?
Stuff really. Yeah. But there has been, say, obviously I listen to a lot of hip hop as well, and that heavily influenced me. I got really into Memphis rap a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Started experimenting, doing a bit of their style of production, trying to marry that with drum and bass. I put out a couple of free things on SoundCloud with that kind of vibe. So it's usually what if I'm listening to a lot of reggae at the time, I'll be producing a lot of dubwise kind of style or whatever, and it's whatever the musically works with drum and bass. If I can find the right samples and the right vibe, or something like that, then I'll try and make it work in the music. Especially if I'm really feeling it at the time. If I'm going for a little phase of an artist or certain things.
Yeah, of course, man. So, have you dabbled in any other genres of dance music other than drum and bass?
Yeah, I do actually have a trap profile as well.
Okay.
But that's just experimental. Most of it's just if I come up with I usually do trap style beats anyway when I'm doing hip hop. So if I come up with something and finish it, I'll just put it on there. But I don't really promote it or anything. I just leave it
Fair
up,
enough.
and then
Yeah. If
So,
if it gets the plays, it gets the plays. If it doesn't, it doesn't, kind of thing.
yeah.
Nice, man. So let's just touch on obviously your general process when you are sitting down and writing music. How does most of your ideas start? Do you start we've had quite a few people saying they start with their drums, that they start with like their bass, or so how do you go about writing a track?
Usually marrying the three elements. I usually have a musical idea, like say like a sample, even if it's just a little vocal sample or something I've mashed in playing keys, or sometimes I've been trying to like there was one track for the intro. I just sampled a broken siren. It was and I literally just slightly moved everything so it was all in time, and it just made this thing. And then so if I've got a musical idea, or it could be a drum track I've started, I could just start building drums. If I've got no ideas in my head, just build drums, because I've got all my hits and that, I've got my library. I can just start building something up on Machine. I use Machine a lot, which is pretty good.
Okay.
It's like a sampler basically, or it's like it's tries to be like an MPC with the
I was about to say it's a bit like an MPC. So
yeah,
are you predominantly software? I see obviously you've got the machine there, so do you work with much hardware at all?
I used to, but not really anymore. I sold a lot of it years ago.
Yeah, fair.
Just for space reasons and moving house and things like that. These things happen.
Yeah.
But I actually I gave away. I had this tape machine, and that broke a couple of years ago. And I've got a friend who really knows his audio and stuff, and he's gonna. I just gave it him and said, if you fix it, you can have it.
Yeah.
So that's the last of all the hardware I had. But yeah, I just used obviously the computer, Focusrite, Scarlett sound card, which probably most people have.
Yeah.
Just all the thingy, MIDI controller machine, Yamaha monitors, and that's it. And then everything else is software, really.
Nice. So, what kind of VSTs are you using these days?
Recently got myself Serum on the synth side of things. Obviously used to use Massive a lot. Now moved on to Serum, and it's just obviously technology moves on. There is a Massive X apparently as well, but I've not checked that out yet. But I really like the good thing about Serum is that it's got some really good effects that are in the actually in the synth. The compressor, the multi-band compressor in there is.
Right.
So that's why I use it.
And any like mastering VSTs that you really recommend? Or not mastering, but like EQing, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Fab Filter, Sound Toys as well. I've got their bundle, and a few other bits. I've recently bought myself something called the Riser, which is just for creating like the sort of like effects in a tune, like the
of course,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Recently got that so I can build my own, because obviously if you're using the same samples then as everyone else, then you're going to sound like everyone else.
Yeah, it can sound a bit samey, can't it?
Yeah, unless I'm sampling from a different genre or a different or it's literally from some wax or something, you know what I mean? Then I try not to sample. Try and make my own sounds.
Yeah, of course. Do you do much sampling from vinyl?
Yeah, loads. Over the years. Some tunes I've done are literally just plagiarized. Plagiarized a reggae tune.
Well, I mean that's one thing that I'd like to touch on actually. What are your opinions on this whole plagiarizing within drum and bass? I mean, obviously,
within drum and bass, or something like, I wouldn't sample, say, a peer's piece of music. You know what I mean? Especially if it's somebody new, and they were still going and still doing what they do. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's classic things that do get sampled from all 90s jungle now, and you can hear vocal samples that you think, well, that's been used a million times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like that. But generally, I wouldn't sample or knowingly rip off any other artist. You know what I mean? That was a peer and a contemporary. Definitely not.
Yeah, of course, man.
I don't think it's the done thing, really, but everyone's got their own opinions, like, so.
Yeah, of course, man. I mean, I definitely wouldn't like go and do an unofficial remix of any artists that are like coming up now, especially not without their permission.
Yeah, definitely not. I wouldn't do an unofficial remix either of a classic tune as well, especially if the artist is still going and stuff, because I feel like, you know, that's like if I went to a local art gallery, took the painting home, and then drew my picture on top of it and was like, you know what I mean? It's just not, you know what I mean?
It's not, it's not the done thing. I think if you're going to do like unofficial remixes and stuff like that, you have got to go away from the scene a certain amount. Like I must say, I've really been enjoying a lot of the R&B bootlegs that have been popping up over lockdown. I'm quite keen to hear some of those out of some sound systems.
Used to get some of them back in the day. You know, one of the first records I ever bought was what was his name? It was Usher and Lil Jon remix on vinyl, and it was obviously a bootleg. Like, but it was in, I'm sure it was in like HMV or something as well. But there you go.
So in terms of, obviously, over the last year, there's been a lot of music that's been released that hasn't had the joy of playing through a sound system. Are there any tracks in particular that have come out in the last year that you are absolutely buzzing to hear out of a sound system?
I'm willing to hear anything out of a sound system right about now, to be honest.
Yeah, you know that.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Nice. So, but yeah. So, in terms of artists that have kind of popped out in the last year or so, are there any that you might not be interested in releasing on Juicy Fruit, but you think are producing some really good stuff?
Oh, there's a million producers, man. Obviously, there's still going Boo and Dutter really round for, especially for around these ways, like killing it on everything on Souped Up. The Souped Up label is absolutely insane. Like, so I'd say all the artists on that. Right?
Yeah, sound man. So is there anything that you would like to touch on before we start doing a bit of your music, showing off a bit of your music?
No, I'm good, bro. I'd love to just get stuck into playing some tunes.
So what we'll do is we'll get it all ready. Bear with me. Just need to make cool that can go. And then I'll tell you what track it is, and if you just want to give us a quick introduction to that track, i.e., you know, what you have, like, you know, the inspirations that you had for it and things like that. So this is Dragon Breath by Erbman and Fascia. This is upcoming on Juicy Fruit Records.
Big up yourself, 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 big up yourself.
That's that.
Big up yourself, big up yourself, big up yourself, big up yourself.
Something I think we'd like to try. Something we'd like to try. We haven't done it quite some time. We happen to enjoy it. We hope that you will too. Big up yourself, big up yourself, big up yourself, big up yourself, big up yourself.
Absolutely love that. My favorite part of that is the rising sub.
Oh yeah, the second. Actually, I actually can't hear what you're playing.
Yeah, so in the second phrase, there's that
Yeah.
of the drop. You've got the first bit, and then you've got that rising sub.
Yeah.
That's so fresh. That is, man. I really like that.
Yeah.
So next up, we've got here this again.
Just add that one.
Yeah. Well, so this is Rude Word, and this is by Just Yourself.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to say about this one, or?
Just the standard rollout with a weird sample I found. So
Yeah.
that's it. I'm not going to say where the sample's from, but it's from a TV comedy show. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So I better not, you know what I mean. But it's just a standard rollout with a weird little sample that I just thought I'd put in, and
Nice.
that's it. Yeah.
So just quickly before we do play this one, I've noticed that a lot of your tracks have what a lot of people might deem to be a shorter intro. Is that something that you kind of prefer to do? Is that better? Do you find that better for the mixes?
Yeah, just 32 bars.
Yeah.
I think nowadays attention spans are too short, because there used to be some big long intros.
Yeah, like back
some
in the
with no drums or nothing.
Back in the day, you used to have like 2-minute intros.
But I just think it's in the modern stage. I don't think it's which, you know, a lot of people probably would disagree with, but that's just the way I do it. So
yeah, no, that's totally fair enough. So this is Rude Word by Erbman. Is this due to come out? Is this coming on your EP?
Yeah, 2nd of March coming out on Juicy Fruit. I think 2nd of March, something like that. You just follow my page.
Yeah. So this is Rude Word by Erbman, and this is upcoming on Juicy Fruit Records as well. Little shuffles.
It's what? Nothing. Rude word. Next question. No. What was the rude word? It's what? Nothing.
That really reminds me of some like early clips.
Yeah, he's a big influence on me. Clips, especially early clips. So
yeah, you can tell with that like do like that's really clipsy. I like that. So next up we have Erbman, Fake Vomit and Whipped Cream. This is an interesting name.
it's the sample. This is a sample. I made a track a long time ago with this sample on it, but I didn't do anything with it. So I thought, right, I always had it on my computer, and I thought, you know what, I'll just put it in this one. So, and this is why I put them out together, because again, I'm not going to say what it's off, but it's sort of a comedy show. I kind of like if it's going to choose a vocal sample, kind of like choosing something that's kind of sinister but still funny.
Yeah, of course, man.
So that's what I try and go for.
And so I take it that this on the right here, the Juicy Gang Erbman, that's your EP cover?
That's
nice. So this track and the last track that we just played is both coming out on Juicy Fruit Records sometime in March.
Yeah, early March. So I think 2nd of March. But
nice. So this is Fake Vomit and Whipped Cream by Erbman.
I joked about fake vomit and whipped cream.
So that's got a real like magistrate heisty feel to it as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you could definitely tell your inspirations within this. I really like that. That's really good.
Yeah. The bass for that. I was just experimenting with some envelopes on it. That's literally just 2 notes over and over again. So I was experimenting with little envelopes and stuff, and once I started to make a pattern to it, it started to sound good. So I thought, right, I'll do a tune out of that.
Yeah, no, that sounded rude, man. That sounded really rude. So that concludes our music section. So before we wrap up, is there any shout outs or anything at all that you'd like to mention at all?
Just Erbman's recent EP is out already on Juicy Fruits. Head over to Juno and get that. I've got something himself with an artist called MS-DOS. It came out last week.
Nice.
That's on Juno. That's where you go in it, or Spotify if you just want to listen, I suppose. Shout out to Wood Magazine for wanting to have a chat.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
And anyone I've ever worked with and every label I've worked with, probably too many names to mention, but yeah, shout out to everyone.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for taking a bit of time out of your day to come and have a chat with us. Really appreciate that. And so we have been the Wub Magazine. I've been BassPush. He's been Erbman. And this has been BassPush Interviews in conjunction with the Wub Mag at www.thewubmag.com, an online magazine based in Bristol covering everything underground. Please do go and check out Erbman's links. They will be somewhere around this video, whether below. Depends where we put it. All right, guys. So thank you very much, guys. Cheers, Erbman. Have a lovely day, mate. All right.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Thanks,
boss.
mate. And you,
Thank
pal.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.